Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A few minutes ago, one of the witnesses observed that the Constitution protects the right to liberty, and that is surely true. It also protects the right to life. Explicitly and repeatedly, it protects the right to life. And life is the first right, the precondition to liberty, to the pursuit of happiness, to every other right we enjoy. Without life, there is no liberty. Without life, there is no pursuit of happiness. And I would note that the Supreme Court's reasoning in Roe versus Wade, there is a reason that Justice Blackmun's opinion is almost universally considered one of the most poorly reasoned Supreme Court opinions to have ever issued, criticized from left and right as exceptionally poor reasoning, untethered to the Constitution. And indeed, Roe versus Wade built on a prior opinion that explained in logic that only a lawyer could love, well, yes, the rights we're looking to create, they're not in the Constitution, they're not in the Bill of Rights, but you need to understand the Bill of Rights has emanations, so apparently rights are glowing. And those emanations, in turn, cast penumbras, which is a fancy 10-penny word for shadows. And within those penumbras, from the emanations of the rights, that's where the Supreme Court magically discovered the right to abortion. If you explain that to anyone that doesn't have a Juris Doctorate degree, they will look at you like you are a lunatic. And frankly, people with a JD should look at you like you're a lunatic as well. But they have been taught a great deal of lunacy. I also thought it was striking that the witness invoked the case of Buck versus Bell. Buck versus Bell was indeed a dark chapter in our nation's history, a hideous chapter where the Supreme Court upheld the forced sterilization of women. What the witness didn't mention is forced sterilization is a policy that Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, energetically advocated. In 1923, Margaret Sanger wrote the following: "These two words, birth control, sum up our whole philosophy. It means the release and cultivation of the better elements in our society and the gradual suppression, elimination, and eventual extinction of defective stocks, those human weeds which threaten the blooming of the finest flowers of American civilization." That is despicable and bigoted and evil. And I would note that Margaret Sanger also advocated for the forced sterilization of women with mental disabilities, with physical disabilities, including, and these are her words, quote, "morons, mental defectives, and epileptics." This is the patron saint of the movement for unlimited abortion on demand. And her vision sadly has had much of it come to pass. And if Senate Democrats have their way, all of her vision will come to pass. Now, the chairman a moment ago took issue with the observation that this bill, this radical bill that strikes down all reasonable protections of life at the state level, that he said it would not strike down laws granting a woman access to her sonogram like you were denied, Ms. Foster. Well, interestingly enough, if you actually look at the terms of the Act, Section 4B of the Act is a broad catch-all provision that prohibits all state and local laws that address abortion and, quote, impede access to abortion services. Now, it is not complicated that if this were to pass, as you noted, when women look at the sonogram, when they see their unborn child, when they see the beating heart, when they see, I remember with seeing my girls, their feet and hand, and they're kicking and living, that many of them choose not to go through with it. It does not take a terribly creative lawyer to say that a policy that results in women choosing to protect life, quote, impedes access to abortion services, and the chances, I can actually quantify the chances that those laws would be challenged under this bill at 100.00%. There is no possibility they would not be challenged. What I also found interesting is the chairman picked that one point to dispute. He doesn't dispute that his law would strike down all laws restricting late-term abortions. He doesn't dispute that his bill would strike down all laws preventing abortions when the unborn child can feel pain. He doesn't dispute that his law would strike down laws prohibiting the horrific D&E abortions that rip the unborn child limb for limb in a torturous way. He doesn't dispute that his law would strike down laws prohibiting discrimination, that it would allow discriminating based on race, discriminating based on gender. You don't want a girl, you don't want a boy. His law would say you can discriminate based on gender, you can discriminate based on race, you can discriminate based on disability. All of those laws would be struck down. He doesn't dispute that his law would strike down state laws providing for parental consent or parental notification. So hear this at home, parents. If your daughter wants to go get a tattoo, if your daughter wants to get her ears pierced, they've got to ask you. If your daughter breaks her toe and needs a medical treatment, they've got to ask you. But the position of Senate Democrats is they want to make it illegal to even notify you that your daughter has gotten pregnant and is considering a decision that she may regret the rest of her life. That is radical and extreme, and that's not where the American people are. And I would finally say, Mr. Chairman, I want to ask unanimous consent to enter 2 letters of opposition into the record. The first is a letter by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, and the second is a letter by Dr. Christina Francis on behalf of the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists.
Without objection.